to our final presentation of the evening, and it's Fulcrum Metals. Now, it's pivoting from exploration to near-term gold production following its breakthrough gold recovery technology and rates. Also, this is what I want to know. Are there opportunities to expand the portfolio? Does the company want to? Ryan Mee joins us now. He is the co-founder and the chief executive. Ryan, a very warm welcome to you. Good to see you again.
Yes, good evening, Sarah. It's good to see you again. Okay, so Fulcrum, our slogan now is turning waste into gold. Now, essentially, Fulcrum are a technology-driven mineral exploration company. We're focused on reprocessing tailings. We're focused in Canada. It's a leading mining jurisdiction. And we're using novel, disruptive, non-toxic leaching technology to extract this gold from mine waste. Now, we're partnered with Extract Process Solutions to use their technology. And we are in the process of converting terms for our master licensing agreements for two of Canada's biggest gold camps in Kirkland Lake and Timmins in Ontario. We have two initial projects which we are developing in Kirkland Lake called Tech Hughes and Silvernite. Combined, they have around 200,000 ounces of gold. The directors are aligned with investors. We hold around 26% of the stock, paid for every single share. And ultimately, what we're focused on is, nearer term, lower CapEx cost, production opportunity for investors. I'm not going to hold up on this slide too much. Everybody knows gold; they understand it, and central banks have been buying a lot of it. As shown in today's gold price of around $2,900 an ounce, a year ago we was looking at $2,000. Now, tailings is a really, really big opportunity. A lot of the focus at the moment is on active tailings management. That means there's a lot of historic or legacy mine waste sites which are completely unaddressed, and that is a big opportunity for us. There's some big numbers here thrown around. Natural Resources Canada estimated over $10 billion worth of precious metal in historic mine waste. And the other side to this is that, these are historic sites. They've been left unaddressed, untreated for decades. That's actually caused the Canadian government an issue in that, this falls on their shoulders to sort these problems out. That's been estimated at around a $10 billion, liability to the government and ultimately the Canadian taxpayers. Now, we've got two projects in Kirkland Lake. The exclusivity that we're looking at for Timmins and Kirkland Lake, there's over 70 documented mine waste sites. And as I said, two of Canada's biggest gold producing camps, which is well in excess of 100 million ounces of gold. So we've got a very scalable concept, and there's a lot of historic mine waste sites for us to go and look at. Now, if you focus on the two projects that we have, we're talking of just under 11 million tons, around 200,000 ounces of gold. And strategically, these two are very close to each other. I think it's about 2.5 kilometers between the two. So that proximity is going to give us possible synergies, whereby we might be able to create a tailings hub here and reuse some of that capital expenditures on the reprocessing plants. Now, if we look at Tech Hughes, what information do we know? What have Fulcrum done since bringing the project in? Well, there's historic auger holes, which suggested 0.66 grams a ton in terms of grade, 6 million tons, 130,000 ounces of gold. What we've done is we've done confirmation sampling. We actually returned higher grade in gold. But what the most important thing for mine waste is, can you get the gold out of the mine waste? Now, our initial leach testing with extracts, what we actually showed is that we can recover nearly 60% of the gold. in as little as 3 hours. Now, in this area, traditional methods, cyanide-based methods, have been tested in these areas, and they were only able to get around 30% recoveries, and that's leach times around 48 hours. So we can get nearly double the gold in a much shorter time frame. At Silvernight, um, again, as historic auger holes, suggesting 4 million tons, just under half a gram a ton gold, getting on for 65, 70,000 ounces of gold. Now, we have resampled some historic sites to confirm those grades. What we also found is that actually in this mine waste, the silver and tellurium is obviously a critical mineral, as recognised by Canada. So these by-credits could offer some further upside to the projects. Now we have actually now completed initial leach testing with the extract technology. We got around 50% recovery. Now, what I would stress is that, with these leach testings, we did not treat the tailings at all. It's simply tailings out of the ground as you see it. So there was no chemical pre-treatment, there was no remilling or any expensive procedures like that. And also, we started from almost a ground zero position whereby very little metallurgical information was known. So this is unoptimized. And as a result of the leach testing that we've done here, and we're currently undergoing a conceptual study at Tech Hughes, which is going very well. And a combination of these efforts is going to help us optimize in terms of the recovery and understand the metallurgy properties of these tailing sites. Now, what we do have is a very phased development approach. So we have a phased testing and study program with extracts. We've completed the phase 1 leach testing at both Tech Hughes and Silvernight. The phase 2 conceptual study is something we're working on right now. Now we've only focused on the leaching, and I'll circle back on this a little bit later. But there's other very standard processes that we can add to this to the equation in this gold recovery scenario, and that is to review flotation or concentrating to increase the grade going through the plant, and also dewatering technologies. So there are additional work streams that we're going to be looking at. What we're also doing right now at Tech Hughes is looking at the resource definition work. We've been doing sampling and assays, reviewing different methods of assays to make sure that the assays are consistent. And our fourth objective that we're working on is, this gold leach technology for these historic mine waste sites. Like as I said, in two of the largest gold camps in Timmins and Kirkland Lake. Now, how does this leach testing program look like with extracts? Well, we start off very simple. So it's initial sampling and test work. We've done that at Tech Hughes. We're showing that maybe the grade is a bit higher than those historical records. We've got some outstanding recovery rates, initial recovery rates of nearly 60%. Phase 2 is a conceptual study with around 50% accuracy. Then we'll follow that up with detailed sampling and test work, which is all designed around the optimization of the process and look at adding other processes to that. And then the final phase is phase 4, which is an economic study, which is PFS level, around a 30% accuracy. We're targeting to get that done by the end of the year for tech. Now here we just have a diagram just to show really where the leaching kind of fits within the scheme of things. But the leaching is the most important factor. It's been the most limiting factor. That's why these historic mine waste sites are still around today. And that is because people have not been able to um, get those recovery rates above 30% without using cyanide. In terms of the leaching, the non-toxic leaching technology itself, it's a non-toxic chemical formula. It's very simple. It's non-toxic. It doesn't produce any inert or acid-generating residues. It's minimal water consumption, and it's got a small footprint. So these are all big ticks in that box when you consider projects and 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 moving forward with these projects. Now, why do we are we happy that this works? Well, not only have we got some extremely promising initial unoptimized leach testing results, but Extract have partnered with Bechtel. Bechtel are one of the biggest engineering companies globally. And the Bechtel don't partner with companies or technologies that don't work. In their own words, they said that this collaboration is set to transform the industry. And as part of our partnership with Extract, working on these projects, Bechtel are a part of the setup here and the partners that we're working with. Now, in terms of the board, we've had a recent change. Mitchell Smith has stepped up to the chairman role. Mitch being based in Canada, he helps with that Canadian focus of the company, and help us get the message out there and help with our efforts to connect with all of the stakeholders in the projects. Now, on a wider ESG point, there's there's some key areas which reprocessing mine waste really addresses, and that is, we're able to look at reducing the carbon and waste pollution. We're not building new mines. The mining's already happened, so we're looking at going in at remediating the lands. And because we're not building new mines, what we're actually bringing is lower emission produced gold. So as a comparison to mine gold, our emissions are much lower. And because we're looking at remediating these lands, what we will be able to help is the regeneration of these areas. I mean, Tech Hughes and Silvernight, they've been around for 60 years, and there's very little growth, very little vegetation on these sites, almost excluded from society. So we can help by reprocessing these areas, we can help try and regenerate these areas, bring them back into the social community. The other thing that we can look at is we can actually look at repurposing the leftover mine waste once we reprocess the gold. Now, this will help repurpose, not just the mine waste, but also the sites. It's going to give optionality on how these sites can be used going forward. They can be brought back into the local community in terms of, reforesting and have new countryside, or perhaps, there's other potential reuses of the site, maybe solar farms, etc. But these are all things which we need to have a look at and obviously discuss with local communities and stakeholders. But ultimately, what we're doing is we're delivering a real positive mining asset class, real positive use of equity for stakeholders, and we're turning these liabilities, these long-standing liabilities, into an asset of today and for future generations. So what are Fulcrum doing? Well, we're turning waste into gold. What we're using is disruptive technology. We've shown that we can double the recovery rates of the gold. We've shown that we can significantly reduce leaching times. And we know that, and we're also bringing a non-toxic delivery method. Now, this is essential for the social license to operate. Local communities, they don't want additional problems brought to the table. They want solutions, and that's what we're bringing to them. In terms of the tailings themselves, it's already mined, it's already at surface. We don't need to spend money on going to find a discovery. It's already there. We already know. We have the historical records from the mine production and where these tailings were dumped. And we can actually walk out on site, and this tailings is right underneath our feet. We can bend down and pick it up, and it's in our hand. When we say at surface, it really is. And we've got two projects here, in Kirkland Lake and Tech Hughes and Silvernight. That's for us to start. what we're looking at doing here is delivering a concept, a sustainable revenue model with sustainable mining practices so that we can scale across two of Canada's biggest gold camps. And of course, as I said, it's a much nearer term production opportunity for cash flows. Like I said, we're not building a mine. And in fact, the Ontario government are due to implement a new fast track permitting system for, or framework, should I say, for mineral recovery. That comes into effect on the 1st of July. And that should see us, being able to we're not looking for 5 or 10 years down the line to be, producing. We're looking at a much shorter window, perhaps, 18 to 24 months from now to go through the whole thing. Ultimately, we're not a dividend payer now. We're a small junior exploration company. We've got big ambitions. We've got powerful technology, big partners working with us on these solutions. And the engagements that we've had with local governments, regional governments, local communities, it's been extremely positive and really are supporting what we're doing here. So we've got a very exciting future ahead of us. Ultimately, I want to bring this company forward to the point where we can bring dividends to shareholders and really repay that faith in that transition for us from an exploration company into a mineral recovery development company. And yes, we still have exploration assets. We're reviewing opportunities to monetize those through joint venture partners or similar type deals. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but I'm really excited. So thank you.
And I'm excited as well, Ryan. So, tailings, detritus, albeit beautiful detritus from legacy mines, an opportunity for you. But
Yeah.
how supportive is the Canadian government to the processing of tailings? How much of a favor are you doing for them? How much will they want a slice of the pie when they realize what you're doing?
Well, in a way, the government will receive a slice of the pie by the fact that we are reducing their liabilities. At the moment, the government have, 100 years worth of mining. They have, as I say, just in Timmins and Kirkland Lake, 73 documented historic mineway sites. They don't have the ability to go out there and address these situations. The problem with tailings is you cannot contain these. They have to be addressed. They need to be reprocessed. That's what puts us as a leader in this space because we have that technology, we have that ability to reprocess these tailings.
And I like the way that you were talking about reprocessing, repurposing, and you're thinking far ahead, as far ahead as your sort of national parks and solar farms as well. But we do want to know what's happening now. And gold recoveries from the phase 1 testing at the Silvernight Gold Project, they've increased by up to 63%, with a significant reduction in leaching times. Can you tell us why these results are so significant? For me, anything sort of north of 50% is pretty good going.
Well, quite right. I think generally across the table, you're seeing recovery rates around 30% because let's not forget this is refractory ore. So these are some really complex oxides. To achieve these enhanced recovery rates is, it's really quite a big deal for us and potentially for the whole industry. Essentially what this means is, in very high level layman terms, is we've got much more gold, much more pay, and we can do it much more quicker. So we can do it quicker, recover more gold. What that means is it's scalable. So you can have bigger plant sizes. So we're not looking at, 200 tons a day, 250 tons a day. We're talking of 1,000, 2,000, maybe even more. That's part of what the phase 2 concept work is that we're doing at Tech Hughes, because we need to bottom out where is the sweet spot in terms of the daily production to bring down the operating costs, but at the same time look at, you know, forward lead into the optimization of the recoveries and the technology too.
Okay, so you mentioned the phase two conceptual study at the Tech Hughes Gold Tailings project. So when can we expect the results?
Well, we're working hard at it right now with our partners Extract and Bechtel. So they all have input into the the design of this. And I mean, it we are a very small company, but the company that we keep is of a very vast scale. And I don't just mean in terms of size, but the engineering capabilities. We're through these partnerships, we're operating way above where we should be, given the size of the company. We've got some absolute top class, not just experience, but expertise. So yeah, we're working hard at that. We hope to have, you know, I mean, we published in the RNS that we'll have that out before the end of H1. I hope to have that much sooner than that. But we're really happy with the progress.
And you're obviously very happy with the relationships with Extract, but let's talk about the signing of the binding agreement with Extract. Is that dependent on the completion of a phase development? Can you provide us with an indication on timings?
Well, look, the first thing is you need to make sure the technology works. So we've ticked the first box, which is the recovery rates. We're doing the phase two conceptual study, which is going to give us the high level operating design and the costs. And then at that point, what that allows us to do is use that information and put that into, right, what should the agreement look like? It gives us figures to wrap around the agreement. So essentially we'll have the phase two conceptual study completed. Then we'll look at executing, the licensing agreement.
Okay, so we've spoken a lot about these significant gold recoveries. We're talking about the favour that you're doing the Canadian government, but there are other parts of your portfolio which you haven't talked about. So what are you going to do with sort of the peripheral business ventures that you've got within Fulcrum in its entirety?
Well, I mean, firstly, we've got some fantastic exploration assets. We've already optioned out the uranium portfolio, which we did last summer. Um, that's going to see what 3.3 million Canadian in terms of cash coming into the business over the term of that option and shares. And it's going to see our partner, Terra Balcanica, who have a very, very good exploration team there. They're going to go and spend 3.25 million Canadian on those assets. So what we've done is we've given our shareholders upside on those projects, but saving them from dilution from the exploration. So that's we have that news flow to look forward to. And obviously we have Big Bear. That we've done some great work on Big Bear. We developed a gold trend there. Gold samples in excess of 10 grams a ton. We've got drill targets, drill prospects. We've got additional exploration targets there. So that's ready to go and make a discovery. And then we have Tully in Timmins. It's got what 107,000 ounces of gold, around 6 grams a ton. So the grade we expect would be, of an economical nature as it is. We believe it's got substantial upside in terms of resource expansion there. So, what we're looking at is what's the best course of action for shareholders? How can we bring partners to the table whereby, similar to what we've done with the uranium assets, and that is how can we share in the upside of these projects, but at the same time, potentially bring, other partners to the table to fund that.
Okay, I like the way you say, oh, it's ready to go to make a discovery. I hope you're right. But and I'm not being flippant. I really
Sure.
do hope you make that discovery. But what is concrete is the technology and the disruptive technology that is proven to get that gold off the surface, off the ground. So finally, what news can investors expect from Fulcrum in the next 6 months?
Oh, good question. Well, what we're currently focused on right now is the phase two conceptual study at Tech Hughes. That will naturally lead into the technology agreement with Extract. Um, we are progressing with work towards 43101 estimates on the Tech Hughes project. So that's going to give us all the figures we need for further work later on in the year in terms of optimization. So we'll have all the volumetrics. And, the nature of the agreement with the technology, focused on two of the biggest gold camps, there's going to be lots of commercial advantage for the company in that respect, and how we can, bring different project opportunities to the table for investors, and different ways that we can engineer, the mechanics behind those agreements. So we have a lot of interest in what we're doing. People are coming to us with tailings projects, from various different destinations. Very keen for us to get involved with them. So the next 6 months are going to be very instrumental and pivotal towards Fulcrum and what we deliver. But what I can say for certain is phase two at Tech, extract licensing, resource definition at Tech. And, we've got an increasing number of projects that we can look to supplement effectively what, the concept that we're delivering there at Tech. So it's going to be a very exciting period of growth for us.
And I look forward to hearing about those commercial advantages in due time. And yes, ready to go to make a discovery. I really like that. And if anyone can do it, you can, Ryan. Thank you
Well,
very much.
yeah, I mean, the exploration projects are there for discovery and exploration, discovery and expansion. But obviously, the tailings, this is all about, uh, extraction, recovery, and of course, we're not building mines, we're building mineral recovery units out there.
And repurposing as well. Ryan, thank you very much indeed. That's Ryan Mead, Chief Executive Officer of Fulcrum Metals. Thank you and take care. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah.